Hello and welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. There's a lot of things that happened this week again, so let's get stuck in right away. News number one are quote unquote bad news, and that is the price collapse of Bitcoin. At the time of recording, the price hovers around 80,000 US dollars per coin, and that is obviously a significant drop of more than 25% from the all-time high just a few weeks ago. But there's a very good reason for that, and that reason is called Donald Trump and his administration, because the tariff wars that are going on have completely shocked the markets. Not only Bitcoin, but anything else. We're speaking of equity, the bond market is going crazy, although that has a little bit to do with the central banks, that's a different topic, and obviously also the Bitcoin market. And considering that this is not the first time Bitcoin has dropped by more than 25% in a bull market, it already happened that we dropped more by 30% in previous bulls. However, this time is a bit different. Let me explain it. See, the tariff wars impose up to 25% of tariffs on continents such as the European Union, for example, that's the latest news, or even countries such as Canada, Mexico, Venezuela was also in the talks. You also have China. And that creates a lot of uncertainty and doubt. And this environment has never really been a good environment to be in, because that's when financial markets react very crazy and often react with a sell-off of major risk on assets. A risk on asset is an asset that you buy in a swoop because it has a lot of potential for performance, but it's not something you hold on for dear life, excluding us Bitcoiners, of course, and therefore also liquidate quite fast. We did see this with Bitcoin, obviously, for most retail investors and apparently also institutional investors with ETFs. Not surprisingly, it's a risk on asset, so they liquidate it. And we also saw it with equities in the big tech sector, specifically the Magnificent Seven. Nvidia dropped by more than 8%, Meta dropped by more than 10%. So you see a lot of volatility across the board. And from the looks of it, we just have to wait a little bit longer until the bleeding stops. I am certain, though, that there is one group of people in the financial markets that's celebrating this dip very hardcore, and that is you, Bitcoiners, who are eager to now stack more cheap sats, because whenever do you get the opportunity with a dip such as that? But remember, the dip was not caused by Bitcoin failing or being dead or anything. There will be a lot of articles about this. It was because of the tariff wars. And then news number two are out of the GameStop company, and that is that Ryan Cohen, the CEO, announced he wants to use the $5 billion cash reserve they have and throw everything in Bitcoin. They want to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He did meet Michael Saylor, after all, a few weeks ago, and from the looks of it, that meeting had a very positive impact. And considering where GameStop was just 4 years ago, the company was dead, hedge funds were shorting it, then there came the short squeeze because retail investors were sort of saving the company, the US government came in, Robinhood came in, blocked the account, blocked trading, stock price was heavily manipulated, and after all that, hearings in front of committees and things, GameStop is still around, has $5 billion in reserves, and considering what happened to Strategy with their Bitcoin strategy, small market cap companies who are also pursuing a similar strategy such as MetaPlanet, GameStop has a huge potential, and it would close that arc of being a failing company, saved by retail, new CEO comes in, gives it a boost, discovers Bitcoin, buys it, holds it, Bitcoin treasury reserve, company reacts positively, stock reacts positively, and it would be saved in the long run. If that happens, that has the plot for a cool Hollywood movie, and I'm certain that now the GameStop board will have to decide what to do with this, but who knows? Maybe Ryan Cohen can convince them to do the right thing and use Bitcoin as a reserve asset. And then also some news that we saw this week. Bybit's hack, $1.5 billion in ETH stolen, maybe a bit less now with the price dumping, caused by the North Korean hacking group Lazarus Group. They now said that they were behind this, and they've now ironically become the second biggest holder in Ethereum, or one of the biggest holders. Depends how long it will take there until maybe there's a rollback in Ethereum. That obviously also caused some, let's say, sell-offs within the digital asset ecosystem. But then positive news on the other spectrum. Public Bitcoin miner Mara Digital Holdings has announced that they had a record quarter this past quarter in terms of revenue. Considering where we are in the bull market, that miners get squeezed with margins, this is very good to see. And big bonus, the miner also holds Bitcoin on their treasury. So they're doing everything right in that regard. And with that, we're at the end of this week in Bitcoin. You know the drill. If you got questions, feedback, or just want to say hello, leave me a comment below. And I look forward to seeing you next week again.